witches.
What's up, my witches?
This is another episode of the Literary Coven with your host, Lily. That is me. Just thought I'd point it out.
And this is me, Courtney.
Yes, and we are here to talk to you about the book Brave New World by Aldous Huxley.
Woo!
This is the start of our dystopian, utopian season, so it's pretty exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're into it.
Although, I will admit that I've been having so many more nightmares lately.
Dude, same.
Yeah. Like the other night I had a dream that COVID was the beginning of the zombie apocalypse. And so to take care of everyone, they just like bombed the cities.
Jesus Christ.
It was really dark. I woke up and I texted my brother and I was like, hey, love you, bud.
You good?
Just had a nightmare. Hope you're doing okay.
Hope you're doing good.
That's not fun. But...
Yeah, the mix with reading about dystopian societies and living in the current world that we're living in, it's a little freaky. Well, and we just watched The Night Stalker, and oh my god, it is beautifully produced. It is so fucking good. But definitely the other night I woke up and had to go to the bathroom and it was fucking pitch black, and I opened the door and I don't know, I just got like really fucking scared and I started locking the bathroom window and like yeah, because usually we leave it unlocked like bad guys.
Girl, my bathroom window is always open. Okay. Yeah, it's terrifying. No, and we were watching it and then I'm looking out my window as the guys are working on our deck and the stairs go directly to that window. So
I hate that.
It's a little scary.
That for you.
So I get that. No, I get it. It's terrifying.
Ours is up like pretty like high off the ground or whatever, but I feel like I don't know. I have just been freaked out because of everything that I'm reading about and watching and living and.
Well, I think that the scariest part about Richard Ramirez is the fact that it was anyone, it was everyone, and and the only reason would have to be because your window was unlocked.
Exactly.
Because your front door was unlocked.
Yeah.
No, there was
he ain't got no type.
Quite a lot of times where Riley will leave the front door unlocked just because he doesn't think about it.
Yeah,
and I could kill him myself. Because it's like you have to... Any opportunity and someone will do it.
Yes,
so please.
Absolutely.
Save me.
I know, we're really good about the doors, but the bathroom window for some reason is like, eh.
You gotta get some airflow in there.
Yeah, exactly.
It can't be stagnant air.
Can't be.
No, it's disgusting. I have a joke for you today.
Oh, do you?
I do.
Please lay it on me.
What is the problem with twin witches?
Ooh, I don't know. Tell me.
You never know which is which.
Okay, that was good.
Thank you. Ties into the book. Thank you so much.
I like it. Oh my god, it totally does. I just got it. Everything has just clicked for me.
I had a reason for this joke today.
That was me.
No. And with that, I mean, well, who are we? We're Courtney and Lily, two feminist gal pals. We love witchy things and we love reading books. So that's why we're here, is to just talk about some books. Like she said, Brave New World. I read Brave New World in high school, and realizing now after reading as an adult, there were some major motherfucking themes that I completely missed, were over my head. The only thing that I really remember from this book is the orgy porgy, which I chant to myself quite often sometimes in moments of stress.
Yeah.
Orgy porgy. And of course I just remember the ending, which I just can't wait to talk about. But we should probably talk about Mr. Aldous Huxley first.
We should. Maybe just like a little bit or whatever.
He's a good guy. He seems like a pretty dope dude, in my opinion.
I mean, I feel like he said quite the freaking line.
Yeah.
Or had. Because he's dead.
Yes. Oh, I have a fun fact about that, too. Okay, so born on July 26, 1894.
That is correct.
A Leo.
Ooh.
He is vivacious, theatrical, and passionate.
I feel like that's fitting, for sure.
I do too.
At least within his writing.
Yes.
I didn't know him personally or anything, but
the stuff that I did read about him personally, he does seem vivacious and passionate. Absolutely.
For sure.
And he died on November 22nd, 1963 at the age of 69.
And I feel like he lived pretty long given the time period.
Yeah, especially, 1890s. You'd think that they'd die like way earlier than 63, yeah. But I read that he kind of came from a family of money. So maybe that kind of had to play into it. That
he was able to take care of himself health-wise and prolong his life.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But he did die of laryngeal cancer. Oh my God. Excuse me. Advanced laryngeal cancer. And then I also read the LSD thing.
Oh, no. Tell me about it. I don't think I
So apparently
upon
he
that.
Was very into the psychedelics, and he
Good
liked
for him.
LSD. I know, which is why I think that his writing,
is different. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I like it. It's very, yes. That was a bad sentence. Again, I'm so sorry. I'm so terrible. But on his deathbed, he requested that his wife give him LSD before he died.
Why wouldn't you?
Right? I mean, I feel like if you're going to go out.
Yeah, you better go out tripping balls.
That's the fucking way. Well, and I also feel, too, that it has to do with his vision problems.
Yes.
That maybe he wanted to see something inside his mind.
I think so, too. Yeah. Well, and I feel like he lost his sight pretty early on in his life, too. Yeah, as a college kid. Mm-hmm. And it caused him to leave the first college that he was at, Eton College, and he was originally going for a career in medicine. But when he lost his eyesight, he was forced to leave college. And when it regained as much as it could, it only was like a quarter of the vision, which is why he went, I believe, then to, or a little bit after that, he won like a scholarship and went to the other college where he started literature and English language and stuff, which is what got him into writing and such. That's pretty dope, dude. And he learned Braille too. I mean, that. I feel like you would have to, but I mean,
well, I read a little thing saying that when he was giving a speech at some sort of dinner, that he had his notes in his hands and was talking so eloquently, and then he tripped up because it actually turned out he wasn't reading. He had memorized it, and when he tried to hold it really close to his face, everyone noticed like how blind he actually was.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah. And he died on the same day as C.S. Lewis, who is the author of the Chronicles of Narnia.
Really?
But both of their deaths were overshadowed by JFK's assassination.
Yes. That's interesting.
I know, I do think that's interesting. Love all the death.
All the death.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a day. Talk about November 22nd. That's in one day. That's
is it 3
the same
greats.
Year? 1963.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That is quite a lot of important deaths.
Like I said, they always say it happens in threes. It was
baby.
Michael Jackson, it was Farrah Fawcett, and then there was somebody else that died at the same time. I remember that.
Jesus.
It was just something my grandma told me one time, I think. Who knows if
you
it's actually
remembered?
real. Yeah, I did. Whenever something bad happens, I'm like, you better expect 2 more things terrible to happen.
Yes. When was this book published?
I think it was 1936, to be quite honest. I didn't look that up.
Oh. Well.
You have it?
I do.
God bless. Okay, go for it.
It was published in 1932. You were close, though. You were close. You were very close. And I read that he only wrote it in 4 months.
Oh, my God.
I know. Isn't that fucking nuts?
That's crazy. I mean, that just goes to show that he had all these ideas in his head before.
Mm-hmm. He was just like...
Yeah, he's word vomiting it onto the paper.
Yes, seriously.
That's good. I have one of his quotes that I thought really just ties into the themes of this book. Mm-hmm. Call it the fault of civilization. God isn't compatible with machinery and scientific medicine and universal happiness. You must make your choice.
Wow.
I know. I think it's really deep just because I feel like that's the modern viewpoint of religion and science is you believe in one or the other.
Yeah, exactly. It can't be both. Well, and you see that in the book too, for sure. Like they hide all of the religion and spirituality and art and everything, and they only focus on
represents the human emotion.
And
the human experience, really.
Yes. Yeah, they try to hide that as much as possible. Shall we get into the summary of the freaking book?
I would love to hear the summary of the book. Give it to me.
Let me give it to you. Okay. A towering classic of dystopian satire, Brave New World is a brilliant and terrifying vision of a soulless society and of one man who discovers the human cost of a mindless conformity. Hundreds of years in the future, the world controllers have created an ideal civilization. Its members, shaped by genetic engineering and behavioral conditioning, are productive and content in roles that have been assigned at conception. Government-sanctioned drugs and recreational sex ensure that everyone is happy, unquestioning consumer. Messy emotions have been anesthetized. What the fuck? I'm not even going to try. And private attachments are considered obscene. Only Bernard Marx is discontented, developing an unnatural desire for solitude and distaste for compulsory promiscuity. when he brings back a young man from one of the few remaining savage reservations where the old, unenlightened ways still continued. He unleashes a dramatic clash of cultures that will force him to consider whether freedom, dignity, and individuality are worth suffering for. Aldous Huxley's ingenious fantasy of a future of mechanical efficiency and engineered harmony has been enormously influential for generations and is as provocative, powerful, and riveting as when it was first published in 1932. Sorry, that was fucking long, and I kept tripping over my words. I apologize.
No, that was good.
Thank you.
Like that summary. I didn't realize that it was that long. Well, and like I said, so the book that I have here is the one that we had in high school, the exact copy, and it doesn't have a blurb like that. So when we first read this book, I had no idea what to expect.
Oh.
So I had no idea about the Indian reservation. I had no idea what it was all about.
About the government-sanctioned drugs.
Yeah, which sounds great. Just kidding.
I definitely read that before I actually dived in the book because I didn't read it in high school or anything like that. So this is my first go around with it, and I was like, "Sign me up! I'm in for sure." And then I was reading it, and I was like, "Ooh, maybe it's not as great as it sounds."
Yeah, I think that's
the point.
Yep. It's
sounds
dystopian,
appealing, but it's
They make it seem as if it's a big utopian world where everything is nice, but really there are so many things deeper that you don't understand that
exactly
you can't take at the face value.
It's like everything is swept under the rug except all of these happy things.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, it goes into the instant gratification. Yeah.
Exactly.
So who is the main character?
John is our main character.
That's right. He is.
And he comes from the Savage Reservation. He is the man that Bernard Marx brings to the world state. Mm-hmm. He believes in marriage and he believes in like religion too, I feel like. He just kind of has like these conservative views, I suppose. Unconventional views as opposed to everyone else.
Especially in the world state where everyone belongs to everyone.
Yes, exactly.
And I think that I think he is an emotional person in an emotionless world. He gets rejected by the Indians at the reservation because so John is the son of a world state leader and a woman who, when they were on their date, they went to the Indian reservation. Sorry. They went to that. This is a really hard book to explain. Okay. The world is, nobody gets married. Nobody has kids.
Mm-mm.
Everyone is born from a test tube and they're all twins.
Yes.
And it's thousands and thousands of twins. Everything is the same. You're
put into like certain classes too.
Yes.
So there's alpha, beta.
From the beginning.
Yeah.
From in vitro fertilization, you are injected with drugs that will make you comfortable in hot weather if they want you to be a worker who works in hot weather. And it's very controlled environment. And
they can,
a lot. It's a lot. Sorry.
Yeah. No, they control everything and they hand out the government-sanctioned drug, which is Soma. And everyone takes it like every single day.
Well, I don't think it ever says in the book what they get paid for their jobs. They don't get paid. They get paid in Soma.
Yeah, they get paid in Soma and the feelies and yeah, I feel like that's kind of it. They don't.
Yeah, it's just it's a very different society than what John has been in because of course his mom. That's just there's so much about John.
Yes, yeah.
He's a very complicated character.
He is. Yeah, he's more complex than anybody else in the book, really. And because of his complexity, that makes him sort of a misfit, I feel like. He doesn't fit into the reservation, and he doesn't fit into the society of the state. He doesn't fit in really anywhere, which is kind of what leads him to what happens to him at the end of the book, too. I feel like it pushes him over the edge.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I put that because he has access in the New World. They don't have access to books and literature like we do now. And so no one in that world has heard of Shakespeare. He's considered smut.
Yes.
In a way. And so John is obsessed with Shakespeare because it's the only book that he can read. It's the only book he has access to. And this relationship with Shakespeare helps him verbalize his emotions and his reactions. But I also think that because his life is a tragedy. That's how he's also connected to Shakespeare. Not saying that Shakespeare's life was a tragedy. That guy did great.
Yeah.
But I mean, as if.
But a lot of
the
his
characters.
Yeah, absolutely. He's almost like a character.
Yeah. Who is the next main character?
Bernard Marx is our next kind of main character, I guess.
Yes.
And originally, I really liked him because he was kind of like, oh, I just wish I could be me, you know, feel more me. But then, come to find out, he's quite petty. Yes. And he's cruel, and he's a fucking coward. Like, when it comes time to really express how he feels and be an individual, he's like, oh, no. He's like, I'll play nice. I'll be a part of society or whatever.
Yeah, he parades himself as an independent person and an independent thinker when really he just wants to be liked.
Exactly. He just wants to fit in.
Yeah, that doesn't
and
like him.
His whole life, he's also a misfit, too, because he's an alpha, but he doesn't look like he is an alpha physically. So he kind of doesn't fit in that way. People don't respect him at all, and he's just like kind of looking for someone to accept him in some sort of way.
Yeah. One of the things that I didn't like about him was, he's kind of lovesick and jealous and fiercely angry, but he's socially inept, so yeah.
Yeah.
But a quote that I have that he is talking about John, and I'll just read the quote.
Okay.
This is so bad. I'm so sorry. As a victim, the savage possessed for Bernard this enormous superiority over the others, that he was accessible. One of the principal functions of a friend is to suffer, in a milder and symbolic form, the punishments that we should like, but are unable to inflict upon our enemies. Stating that Bernard thinks that you can be mean to your friends and it's okay because they're your friends. It was just a weird quote just to hear how selfish he is in that way, because I don't think that's...
He is extremely selfish. Well, and I feel like going along with that, emotions aren't really something that is allowed to be had within the state. So when you're mean to someone, they can't really do anything, because if they're displaying their emotions, then they aren't going along with the smooth sailing ship that is the society too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he feels like he can treat anybody any sort of way without any repercussions. Baloney.
What'd you say?
I said baloney.
I thought it was baloney, and then I thought it was blow me, and then I thought it was below me.
It could be all of those.
Yeah, screw you, Bernard Marx.
You're the worst.
No, yes, he's not. He's not
my
great,
favorite.
No.
Yeah.
And then we have Lenina Crow. Crow?
I think it's Crown.
Is there an N that I didn't put in there?
Yes, I think so.
LOL.
Yeah, because I looked it up last night, actually, because I wasn't sure.
Lenina,
yeah.
I'll just refer to her as Lenina. So she is a woman in the world state, and she is losing interest in the promiscuity that the world state influences enthusiastically.
Yeah. Definitely shoves down your throat.
Encourages. Yeah. It's from birth that the girls are supposed to know. Well, that's another weird part about this book. Not weird, just... No, it's weird.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, it's just different than what we're used to. It's kind of weird.
No, it's weird.
They let their children play in what they call erotic play from a young age, where they pull at each other's zippers and they're allowed to do whatever they want to do to explore each other's bodies. And if you don't contribute in that way, then you're considered a rube. Yes. And you can get in trouble. And so the whole view of sex in the world state is everyone belongs to everyone.
You're not supposed to have only one partner. You're supposed to have multiple partners.
And this is to diminish the emotions.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't want to get too attached to one person. And yeah, Lenina is, when we first meet her, she is seeing Henry Ford more than just a couple times, and her friend Fanny is like, what are you doing? Are you okay? Like, you should go see someone else. You know?
Need to go get one of the weird surgeries that we have for stimulating pregnancy, and all the hormones that come from that.
Yeah,
it's so weird.
I know, it's so strange. Very strange concept for sure.
Yeah. But when we meet Lenina, she's losing interest in the promiscuity, but she believes that she has to be a good citizen of the world state, even though she herself in this way has become isolated, has become different than everyone else around her. Like Bernard is different. Yeah. Like John is different as well.
Exactly. And I also have Lenina described as, she's kind of dense. I feel like they all kind of aren't open-minded, as they are, you know, that's not how they're supposed to be. They're not supposed to be open-minded. But I feel like Lenina especially is like kind of, she doesn't understand a lot of things. Like when she's talking to like John or Bernard, she's like, I just don't understand what you're saying. Let me pop a soma really quick.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, I think, yeah, she believes that she has to be a good citizen of the world state. And even though she does have these emotions, she's like, oh, wait a second. I'm not supposed to feel these. Let me suppress them with something else.
Exactly. She's
a good citizen of the world state.
She's a good citizen. Oh, which is so sad.
Yeah. Well, and her development as a character shows how unstable and unpredictable emotions invited by sexual desire and love can threaten the stability of the world state.
Oh, yeah.
Because I do feel that love, and we all want someone, that is
so powerful.
It's a very powerful instrument.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have anything else about Lenina? Or should we move on to Mustafa Mond?
Yeah, let's move on.
Number 1. Love that name. And I always imagined him as a bald guy with a mustache. And I think it specifically has to do with the Mustafa.
He has to have a mustache.
What a childish thing. But it helps. It helps remember who he was as a character. But he is the most powerful and most intelligent man in the society. Yeah. Because he knows about the old world and chooses the new world. He knows, he's read all the books that they're not supposed to read, so he has ultimate knowledge, and he is the one that says, your actions are not benefiting the society. This will not benefit the society, and that's the ultimate goal, is just
benefits the community.
Benefit and control the community.
Absolutely. Yeah, he stands for stability and happiness, and he opposes emotions, individualism, and human relations, which is everything that the world state, you know, embodies. So it makes sense that he feels that way personally.
Well, and I have one of the quotes from him in the book when he's talking to John towards the end of the book, and it's I think a peak moment in the book, because it's when these two conflicting worlds come together and you see the difference in the two. You see why Mustafa Mond feels the way that he does. So the quote is, because our world is not the same as Othello's world. You can't make flivers without steel, and you can't make tragedies without social instability. The world's stable now. People are happy, they get what they want, and they never want what they can't get. They're well off, they're safe, they're never ill, they're never afraid of death, they're blissfully ignorant of passion and old age, they're plagued with no mothers or fathers, they've got no wives or children or lovers to feel strongly about. They're so conditioned that they practically can't help behaving as they ought to behave, and if anything should go wrong, there's Soma. So I feel like that really paints a picture of why he feels that the world that they live in is good for humanity.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see it from that side too. It's like, well, everybody's happy and they're good. They're content with the way that things are.
But again, that's because they've been conditioned.
They don't know any better. They're literally genetically fucking engineered to be that way.
Genetically engineered, and then I don't think we've talked about the hypnopedic.
The sleep learning or whatever. Yeah, you
sleep learning. Where there's a speaker underneath your pillow, and all night, for as long as you're a kid and into adulthood, they drill into you these hypnopedic statements that help you remember who you are and what you need to do in your cast.
Yeah. Do we want to move on to Helmholtz? Is that how you say his name?
Helmholtz. Yes. Helmholtz.
That's how it's spelled. I'm just saying
Watson.
Phonetically, really.
Yes.
I feel like there wasn't much of a description about him per se. He is kind of your typical alpha male. He is attractive.
Yes, he
is strong. And he's intelligent. And he has these really kind of radical views about society. And he doesn't necessarily agree with the society that he is living within. He wants to express his individuality and be more of an independent person, a free-willed person.
And I think that part of that has to do, he's individualistic because he is the best of the best. Mm-hmm. And I feel like he's the best, so much so the best of the best that he's too good for his cast. And that's why alienating himself by thinking differently and independently
exactly
to the world state.
Yeah, it's just his situation has provided him this chance to be like, oh, I'm better than everyone else. I can be different.
And Helmholtz and Bernard are buddies. And then when John comes into the picture, John. And so you have the three male, not counterparts, but just the three male people who are just different and isolated from all of their societies. But of course, all of their needs and their wants are different as well.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I think it's funny, too, is it's like that situation where you, like, have a friend and you bring this other friend to meet that friend and they end up being better friends than you are. Yeah. And it's like, oh my God. And that's what happens. Like Bernard ends up being like the outcast and John and Helmholtz are like best buddies.
Salty. I'd be salty.
I'd be so salty.
Well, I have a quote here. I just freaking love quotes. I don't know if it's because I don't have to do the work, but I just think that people who have statements that make me feel something should be rewarded for making me feel something. So I'm going to credit them. Okay. But this is from an article called Everybody is Happy Now in The Guardian. And it was published in 2007. And it is by Margaret Atwood, the author of Handmaid's Tale. Yes. Okay. And so that's why I wrapped it in there, is because we're doing The Handmaid's Tale at some point. So number one, the setting is in 632 AF. And AF stands for after Fort, because a main theme in this book is the industrialism and how they have utilized the tools that they used for that stuff to manufacture their children, to manufacture workers, to manufacture everything. So that's what it stands for, is after Ford. Brave New World proposed a different and softer form of totalitarianism, one of conformity achieved through engineered bottle-grown babies and hypnotic persuasion rather than through brutality, of boundless consumption that keeps the wheels of production turning, and of officially enforced promiscuity that does away with sexual frustration, of a preordained caste system ranging from a highly intelligent managerial class to a subgroup of dim-witted serfs programmed to love their menial work, and of Soma, a drug that confers instant bliss with no side effects. Summary of what it is.
Literally the summary of the book. And it's true, like, I think there's a conversation in the book where they're talking about the epsilons and what if they, tire of doing the work that they're doing. And I think it's Lenina, and she's like, well, they're conditioned to like the work that they do. They aren't going to get tired of it.
Exactly.
Like they're not going to ask for better pay. They're not going to go on strike. They're fine, And I think that's kind of crazy because it just shows that everybody is complacent where they are. There's not going to be, what am I trying to say?
There's not going to be like progress or change.
Yeah. There's not going to be any growth. There's not going to be any change, or no one's going to better their life if where they're at is being an epsilon. They're not going to progress up to be an alpha. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing in the first little bit. So when they open the book, it's the DHC taking boys, of course, to show them how everything works, how the babies are born. And they specifically use the perineum, which is the lining that covers and holds your guts together of a cattle. And I thought that was hilarious because, of course, they're going to produce cattle literally.
Yeah.
But also figuratively, because these people are going to follow whatever the government wants them to do. So it's pretty symbolic there. Should we get into the themes then?
I think we should. Okay. I'm excited.
Okay. What's theme number 1?
So I have the use of technology to control society. And so an illustration of this theme is the rigid control of reproduction through technology in the medical process, including the surgical removal of ovaries and the, I'm probably going to butcher this, the Bokanovsky process.
Yeah.
And then the hypnopedic conditioning that we saw as well. They use all of these to control society into being what they want it to be in order to be what they think is productive and happy and successful.
Well, and the state also, it limits and censors science because at the basis of science is a search for the truth. And they don't want everyone to know what the truth is, which is that they're being controlled completely.
Exactly.
and this, they do it in such a way that I feel is the most passive way that they possibly could. Because in other books that we'll be reading, I know that it's more of a government fear-based.
Yes. Yeah, theirs is giving everybody what they want so they don't ask for more, I guess, or so they're not unhappy and there's not going to be that uprise. They're happy. Yeah. They're content. They're
world
fucking,
states figured it the fuck out.
Exactly.
That's for sure.
Yeah. Everything is chill. Everybody's good.
Yeah.
There's nothing to complain about, really.
Yeah. Well, and that goes into one of the other themes is like the instant gratification in the forms of the drugs like soma and sex, but without the mess of feelings.
Exactly.
It's very toxic and it's just a way to control.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Even though those things are great, but but having them without the emotions or without sort of putting in like the hard work to receive any form of gratification, I think is really detrimental to growth and progress. While it does supply happiness and whatever, it's just short-term satisfaction as opposed to long-term.
Yeah. It kind of goes back to when we were reading The Beautiful and the Damned. Yeah, that's totally the Roaring 20s just kind of made people want the instant gratification, and maybe that was just kind of a cynicism that Aldous saw.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Aldous. I don't know him personally. Aldous Huxley. Excuse me. So sorry.
I love it.
One of the other themes, too, is the incompatibility of happiness and truth. My note, huge big letters, soma.
Yeah. Yes.
That if you have soma, you don't have to worry about the happiness or the truth of the situation.
No. You're going to be happy. You're going to be fine. All your troubles go away, basically. Yeah. Well, and with this, the whole book is full of characters who do everything they can to avoid the truth about their own situations. And the instance that I brought up for this specific theme is anytime Lenina is uncomfortable or she doesn't understand something, like when she goes on that date with Bernard and they're kind of like sitting in solitude or whatever, and she's like, I don't like this. Get me out of here. Get me out of here. You know, she goes, you should take a soma. And she just brings that up all the time, and it's just to cover these uncomfortable emotions that she's feeling. And like you said, she's trying to be a good citizen, and she's like, I shouldn't be having these feelings, you know, so I'm just going to cover it with my soma.
A gram is better than a dam.
Yeah. True that.
Yeah.
But that's the I think the character that I saw the most who really didn't want to feel things or experience the truth about things was Lenina. I feel like she's the biggest soma consumer.
She just wants to put the rose-colored glasses on her eyes.
Exactly. Exactly.
Something that I had too with the incompatibility of happiness and truth is that we all have, as humans, human truths, if you will.
Yes.
And these are love and friendship and personal connection. And they can't have it in this world state. The government attempts or tries to destroy any kind
they squash
of human
it.
truth that they have.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's one of those things where objective truth involves coming to a definitive conclusion of fact, while a human truth can only be explored and not defined. So it makes it hard for them to live in this world state, because they do have these feelings, these main characters that we do see, even though it might just be, I think it kind of almost shows the flaws that the world state definitely does have a good job, but it's still flawed.
Exactly. They can't take away emotions that human beings feel, so they do their best to control it, but people are still probably gonna feel some things, as we see with quite a few of our main characters too.
The dangers of an all-power state. Let's not have a monopoly of government.
I just feel like that's like so self-explanatory. Like nothing should have complete control over other things. You know, specifically government shouldn't have control over people. Like that's just fucking bonkers to me.
And why Americans left Europe was because they were like, you're not going to control me.
No.
Not to make it all American. I didn't mean to.
Yeah.
I don't.
God,
please.
You're such a patriot.
I'm not. Please. I mean, I am, but I'm not.
Yeah.
You're making me sound like an asshole.
I know. I'm just kidding. It was sarcastic. I'm joking.
Oh my god.
And I feel like we kind of mentioned before, as opposed to other dystopian novels, Brave New World supplies its citizens with happiness and sort of like these positive like reinforcement kind of things, where other ones focus on like torture and like fear and secret police and stuff like that. But this kind of all-powerful state focuses on like giving the people what they quote unquote want.
Well, and I almost feel like it is what they want. It's the basic human desires. You don't want to worry about anything. You want to have stability.
Yeah.
You want to fuck when you want to fuck. I get that, girl. I'm just kidding.
I feel that.
But when you just give it to them, and it often refers to the people in the world state as acting infantile, because it is your basic human wants and needs that are being met. So why would you be upset? Why would you want a different job?
Exactly.
And then the mind control in the background also helps contribute to that calmness that keeps everything tight.
Keeps it nice and tight. And I feel like that's all I really had about the dangers of an all-powerful state. Would you like to move on to individuality?
Yes, I just put that being an individual is toxic to the greater good of humanity, or at least that is the belief of the world state. And the quote that I have here that is most prevalent with counteracting individuality is everyone belongs to everyone else.
Yes.
How can you be an individual when you belong to everybody else?
Yeah, exactly. It's funny because I have that too. Helmholtz and John, they crave individuality so badly that they are both willing to suffer. Like Helmholtz says, put me on the shittiest island in the world so I can focus on my writing, and John lives his life like how he lives his life. But people like Lenina and Bernard says that he wants this individuality, but when he is face to face with it, he runs from it. He doesn't actually want it. And to Lenina, it's just kind of scary anyway. It's like the worst possible thing that could happen to either of them is being an individual, because after all, everyone belongs to everyone.
This is crazy. It's like it's working. These mantras are sticking with us. It's crazy.
And then also for individuality, the world state is so fearful of it. They view it as such a threat that they fucking push anyone who is too self-aware off to an island. They ship them off. They're like, you are not constructive to our flawless community. You need to go.
You gotta go. But it's also almost created a safe haven for the people who are individual. You'd think, but of course, because they've been conditioned for so long, they think it's a punishment. But I bet once they get to that island, they're actually very happy.
They're like, oh, fucking thank God.
Thank God I'm not with those cattle.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously.
And just the last theme that I had was happiness and agency. And I just have a quote from the book, and it says, "And that," put in the director sententiously, "that is the secret of happiness and virtue. Liking what you've got to do. All conditioning aims at that, making people like their inescapable social destiny."
That's a really good quote because it is inescapable. Like we talked about, you can't escape the caste that you are in. You can't move up in the world. You can't move down if you want to.
You don't want to because you
don't have that desire.
You have been chemically and psychologically engineered to like what you do.
To want what you want.
Yep.
And you don't worry about anything else, really.
No. That's all I had for the themes, but I do have just a couple discussion questions. Just kind of keep it light. Yeah, right. So what is the importance of the title? So A Brave New World is a quote from Miranda in Shakespeare's The Tempest. And the quote that she says often is, "Oh, wonder, how many godly creatures are there here? How beauteous mankind is, oh brave new world that has such people in it." And this is what John says when he comes to the new world. Of course, he's saying it sarcastically because I don't think he's very excited to go to the new world because he's not accepted in his own world.
Yes. Well, I feel like at the beginning he sort of starts off optimistic almost. He's like, oh, brave new world. And then as he says that phrase more and more frequently, it gets a little more bitter and sarcastic with each time that he says that.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's what it develops into, is kind of a brave new world.
Yeah. And this is
really?
What creatures it has in it.
Yeah,
These
he's like, oh, goody.
Well, and the Tempest, number one, the Tempest means a violent windstorm, which I did not know. So I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's a cool name. Shakespeare. You cool. Maybe I should check you out, huh?
You're cool.
But the play is about magic, love, forgiveness, and betrayal, which I think are main themes that I think that Bernard betrays. I think all of them technically are betraying the world state in a way.
In a way, yeah.
And I think John, though, has the ultimate betrayal. So I think that's why his character is so wrapped up in Shakespeare, because he can relate with the tragedies, and obviously the betrayal is his idea of what the world state was.
Yes. Yeah.
What it actually is.
Absolutely. Well, in addition to that, too, he's had to suffer through some tragedies within his life that not everyone else has had to go through either, which I think makes him kind of bitter and have that feeling of betrayal.
Well, that's what makes John so different than all the other characters, was that he grew up on the reservation, which means that he had a mother and he had a father, and that in the world state is considered smut. Nobody has a mother, nobody has a father. That's disgusting. Why would you even talk about that?
Well, and there's times that they can't even say the word mother. It just starts with like M and then kind of trails it off.
Yeah, it's very odd to think of a world where you don't have a mom, or you don't have a dad, or you don't have
It's weird. There's no
love.
there's no personal connections, there's no love, there's no friendship, and it's just, I don't want to live in a world like that.
No,
it's
it's
fucking
vapid.
sad.
It's not.
I couldn't sit with my best friend and giggle about fucking bullshit. Are you kidding me?
giggle for like 25 minutes over headphones.
Yeah, seriously, sorry.
So what do you discuss the relation between the sexes in the world state? How do men and women interact? Who holds the power in social situations?
We already know. We already know.
It's the fucking patriarchy. Yeah. It's always dudes. This book was written in 1932.
It's always the men. Well, and when you look at the what am I trying to say? The infertility situation, and they don't say abortion, but like abortion. They only eliminate the female fetuses. Not all of them, but a lot of them. But they don't do it with the male fetuses, like at all.
Well, and the other thing is that they sterilize those babies as well. So it's like, we can have every man get someone pregnant, but we're just gonna sterilize some of the women.
Exactly. And how the fuck does that make sense?
All or nothing, dude. Like, if you're trying to control, you should probably just make everybody sterile.
Exactly.
So you can control.
Exactly. And, well, and then we wouldn't have a problem with fucking the director and Linda, with the director getting her pregnant and seriously
leaving her.
Yes,
he didn't
exactly.
Leave her. So what happened? They went on a date to the reservation. He fell asleep because obviously when you go on a date with someone in the world state, it's simply just sex. So they had sex. They fell asleep. When he woke up, she wasn't there. Turns out she freaking wandered off and she fell in a ravine and she got left there, and the Indians came and found her and they started to take care of her, and then John was born. And that was another thing, that when because John and Linda come back to the world state and experience that society, and she is beyond happy because it's what she grew up knowing. It's what makes her feel comfortable. She loves Soma.
She loves it so much.
So much.
So much.
But she says specifically that she knows that she took her Malthusian belt, which is just a belt that girls wear in this society, that it's birth control inside of it. And they have to do their Malthusian drills where they make sure to take their birth control at specific times all the time. And it's just...
Yeah, when she's talking about it, she's like, no, I did everything that I was supposed to do. I was careful. And look at what happened. She got pregnant. And then the reservation hated her because, of course, everyone belongs to everyone, but not on a reservation. And so when she was sleeping with men in the community, the women ostracized her and
then she had her son and she beat him because she was frustrated. It's very sad because that's one of those situations that the world state is trying to avoid at every cost.
Yes.
And we unfortunately get to see, I don't think unfortunately, we get to see it unfold, and I was very happy to read it. It's very interesting.
Yeah, you definitely see the clash of the worlds there. It's a lot. But yeah, and back to the I feel like I got a little off topic.
Sorry.
But back to the sexes. Obviously the men hold the important positions as, you know, the world controllers, and even Henry Ford, he's like the director of the hatchery. They all are higher tiered than the women. There's no women in powerful positions at all.
They're just even more cattle than everybody else.
Yeah. But like you said, it was 1930s. It kind of goes to show the different time periods.
Well, speaking of, different time periods, how do you think the culture in Huxley's world state compares to our current culture?
I think there's some similarities for sure, especially with the immediate gratification. I feel like we have that in our own society, especially with social media, even with food.
Yeah, Amazon.com.
Yeah, you can fucking order something to make yourself feel better. People do that all the time. So there's similarities within that, even with when we sorry.
It's okay.
lost my train of thought, but it's back. So like when people feel unpleasant emotions as well, or they are in an uncomfortable situation, or they're fucking sad, or, you know, what have you, they run to drugs or alcohol or food to numb that pain and make themselves feel better for, you know, a shorter period of time than Soma would do. Yeah, but still we have our own vices, much like Brave New World does.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that you summed it up. I think that's why I'm
sorry.
I'm searching for like what I was supposed to be talking about. I'm like, no, she said that. She already said that though.
Sorry, I took that question.
No, you condensed it, and I think that's fantastic. No, I do think that although sometimes it's hard to read it because of how I feel as a feminist, where I feel like, well, yeah, maybe taking birth control 15 times a day is not that great, and promiscuity, but no, promiscuity is good. If you want to do it, then you should do it. And if you want to take birth control 15 times a day, then you take birth control. But maybe there's like a healthier option. Maybe we should find something else for you to do. Maybe, I don't know. Just maybe care about your body. But no, there are solutions in our modern day that can help you with these things. And I just feel that in this time frame that this book was written, it almost looks down upon those things, where I feel like maybe as a society we kind of turned it around, like, in your face, Aldous Huxley. We're actually doing
all promiscuous
feminism
now.
That's right. But definitely the use of Soma, I saw the correlation between drugs and alcohol, especially because they often talk about how Linda likes the mezcal tequila, and that she says it's how you feel on Soma, but Soma doesn't have the headache the next day.
Exactly. Yeah. So. She found a vice one way or another. Something to numb the pain.
Don't we all? But that's the thing, is that you're allowed to have, but they wouldn't be called vices, but you're allowed to have vices as long as you're moderating them. Everything in moderation, even moderation.
Yes.
The end.
Learn to deal with your emotions too.
Process.
Journal. Journal. Do some journaling. See a therapist.
Cast a spell. Hold some crystals in your hand.
Yes.
Literally just go outside, and they call it grounding.
Yes.
Put your feet in the ground. Feel the earth.
Put your feet
breathe
in the dirt,
air.
baby.
You are nature. Nature is you. Connect with it instead of doing a bunch of drugs or alcohol, please. I know that's not as simple as that, because of course people have mental issues, but honestly, walking outside, it's good for everybody, so maybe you should just do it a little bit.
Just a little bit. Also, I feel like this episode is brought to you by, like, Dare. Don't do drugs.
No.
Sorry, I can't say that with full
sobriety here.
I wouldn't be honest.
Oh my god, so funny.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. No. I just have a couple of words that I had to look up in the book that I think are important to understanding the book. Number one, they use the word pneumatic a lot in the book. And I was like, It means filled with air, which pneumonia, pneumatic. I could kind of get that correlation. But what they mean in this term is large in weight. So when they describe Lenina, she says, am I pneumatic? It means, am I plumpy? Am I
plump?
Am I cute?
Yeah.
I think, or at least that's how I took it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are plump, good. Lenina.
Good for you.
Another thing, too, that they used a lot was viviparous when they described mothers and why being viviparous was a bad thing, why you shouldn't be like that. And it means, in biology, bringing forth live young that have developed inside the body of a parent. So they're literally using the biological word as an insult.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, it's not crazy. It could happen. Who knows? This book made me sad
But as
too.
of right now, it's shocking.
It is, yeah, because how else are you supposed to have a baby? The other word that I found that I didn't know what it meant, and it is offensive, so I do apologize, but I didn't know what it meant, and so I'd like to educate people to not use it. Mm-hmm. And the word is octoroon, and it means a person who is 1/8 black by descent. Now, in the book, I believe that they mean it in the derogatory way. Mm-hmm. It came from the early 19th century where it was talking about slave owners who would rape their slaves, and then that child that came from them would be half white, half black. And so that's kind of what it meant in a derogatory way. And so I decided, because I remember a super long time ago, it came out in 2013, so it was when I was a junior in high school. There was a National Geographic article called Visualizing Race, Identity, and Change. And on the cover, it had what they believe will be Americans in the year 2050. And it's just because we have so much technology now and we have so much travel that all of these cultures are melding together. And so we'll become a melting pot of people. Yeah. And so it was showing the people. And it was just really interesting because, to be quite honest with you, because this book takes place in the future, when I looked up the definition for that word, I assumed that it was meaning everyone belongs to everyone. Everyone is like everyone else. And so it was that like meeting and clashing of societies that we've become so far in the future that everyone has the similar backgrounds and stuff because we've been able to integrate. And I took it as a good thing. So it was kind of surprising to see that it was a bad thing. And then I was like, okay, I'm not going to say that word. I promise.
Yes. Well, thank you for educating. I appreciate that because I didn't know that either.
Check out that article. I'll show up pictures after this because the people on the cover were beautiful. Oh, but it was all very it was tan skin. So, all the cultures, it was blonde hair, but it was curly.
Interesting.
It was very interesting to see what they assumed that people would look like in 2050. It was good. So, yeah, I'll show you pics.
I'll check it out.
I'll show you pics. Buddy, what the hell did this book teach us?
A lot. That human emotions, as terrible as they can be, are a good thing. I don't want to be a fucking mindless, soulless cattle like you, sheep, basically. Yeah. I don't want to live in a society where I am controlled and conditioned to think and feel a certain way or not feel at all. I feel like that's what it taught me, is to kind of appreciate my emotions, and that I'm able to express love and happiness and sadness and anger, that I'm thankful for all of those emotions.
I have a quote that John says that I think I'm going to get tattooed on my ass. He says, I'd rather be myself and nasty, not somebody else, however jolly. And I...
Fucking true.
I agree.
Yeah.
To err is to be human. So no matter what precautions you put into place, emotions and we all make mistakes. It's what it means to be human. It's what separates us from everything else, is these feelings that we have.
Yeah.
And so when you take those away, we do become just cattle. And
yeah, exactly. It degrades us from what we actually are.
It's a good book.
Yeah. No, it is a really, really good book.
Very good book. I'm glad that you liked it.
Yeah, no, I really liked it. I was kind of reading the afterword just a little bit. I usually don't read those. It's just not really my thing. But it was Aldous Huxley. He revisited it. This book, I want to say like 20 years later, or maybe like 10 years or something like that. But he said that there is some things that he probably would change and make a little more accurate. But he's like, what's the point? It's already out there. Yeah. He's like, but he's acknowledging that there are some things that he would maybe change about it and make it a little more accurate. So I kind of thought that was kind of interesting.
Well, and of course, because this book came out like right before World War II, not right before, but after World War I, in between World War II, where everyone's just tense. And so some people, they kind of took offense to it. Like, you think that it was just a very
controversial kind of book.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I feel like it still is today.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But I feel like it's a call to action. Mm-hmm. What are you going to do to make your world not be like this or make it the world that you want to see?
Exactly.
Well, and the other thing, too, do you remember when I used to call him my murder guy? He would come into the restaurant.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
There was a guy that would come to the restaurant. We would talk about murder all the time. He was really cool. He was an older man. He gave me, when he moved away, a poster that he had in his office, because he was a professor up at WSU, and it was, or librarian professor?
I think
he was.
He's both.
He did write a book. I do know that.
He owns it.
Yeah. WSU is his. He gave me a picture that was in his office, and it is it's the painting of The Scream, and that painting became famous because it's supposed to be a representation of someone looking into the 20th century, because it was done in like 1891. And so I just really feel that whenever people are making these political statements in these art, it's their interpretation. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen. It doesn't mean that it has to happen that way.
No.
So it's just interesting to think about. Maybe you were wrong, or maybe you were right.
Exactly. Well, and I feel like his, they talk about it, too. John Sutherland does the introduction, and I think he talks about how realistic Brave New World is. Maybe not every aspect of it, but the general sort of idea is possible. It is totally possible, especially with how far that we have come with technology and science and, everything else. It could happen.
It could happen.
Maybe not exactly like that, but could happen.
Mm-hmm. And that's, well, especially like we were talking about social media, and how many studies have come out saying that social media is toxic to your mental health because of the instant gratification that it gives you immediately. That immediate release of dopamine is causing people to have ultimate highs and ultimate lows. It's changing. And so it would be easy to control people by their emotions with those instant gratifications. It's not far off.
Well, and I know you watched The Social Dilemma.
Oh, shit, I did.
And there's specific, algorithms to give you what you want on social media. And so I could totally see that as mind control kind of ordeal for sure.
Well, and you should also check out Spycraft on Netflix. It's about spies and how the sexpionage and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's talks about going into the 21st century, we have technological warfare, because to be quite honest with you, I mean, we have drones, we have all of these different mechanical, so we don't have to lose human life. So there's just this whole future. Maybe it's a bit more Matrix, maybe maybe that's what I'm getting at, so sorry. But just a future where technology helps us and assists us. And so you have to think, oh no, it could go bad in a lot of ways. I don't think we should be afraid of technology.
No, it's a good thing in a lot of different ways. But I think
it's all warnings.
You have to be careful with it, and it can't. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
It's precious, maybe.
Yes, yeah. I mean, and I feel like this is kind of a cliche statement, but if it falls into the wrong hands, it could end up being really disastrous for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's how you have to think too. Is Mustafa Man's a very almost utilitarian, totalitarian? Excuse me, because it's the end all for everyone.
Yeah.
So maybe we should take from this book that maybe we should be just a little bit selfish. But not with our vices, but also maybe this book was really made you think a lot about everything that you're doing in your life.
Yeah, it has a lot of, brings up a lot of conflicting emotions.
Yeah.
conflicting thoughts and feelings, and
it's
a lot.
It's controversial to my own mind.
Yeah,
but in an educational way.
Yeah,
at least that's how I'm taking it.
Yeah, I feel like, and that's how you have to take it too. You can't be too I don't know,
too literal about it.
Yeah, exactly. It's just kind of how you interpret the information being provided to you. And that's, I don't know, it's your deal. It's your thing.
Read the book.
Yeah,
read the fucking book.
Read the fucking book. It is a classic.
It is fantastic literature.
It is really good.
That's all I had, baby.
Yeah, me too, girl.
Girl, wash our hands of this mess. Thank you for listening to us talk about Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. We hope that you check out our Facebook and our Instagram. Just search out the Literary Coven podcast, and talk to us. Let us know what you think of the books that we're doing. Let us know what books you want us to do. Mm-hmm. Tell us about characters that you hate. Tell us about freaking how this book made you feel. Tell us about what you thought of the ending.
Yeah. Tell us. We're not gonna spoil it, but
nope.
But
which I like that we didn't even discuss that we were gonna spoil it. We just both kept it so vague. You should read the book to know what happens at the end.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Or just, if you're really curious about the end, just read the end. No.
Oh my god. I think that's a sin. Oh my god. No, read the whole damn book, you freaking jerks.
Okay, take that back. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Courtney freaked out. Don't say that. Just kidding. Well, next week, what book are we gonna be? We're gonna be doing Shades of Grey.
Yes, by Jasper Fforde.
Yes, which was so funny because Ford.
Exactly.
We are really good at planning stuff, and
we just don't even mean to. It's just accidental.
We're just really on the same motherfucking wavelength, baby girl. Also, have you noticed that I started seeing Baby Girl a whole bunch because she said it to me one time, and I was like, "That is so cute." I'm totally stealing that.
That's how I texted it too. I'm like, "BB girl,
BB girl, the you, it's me, your girl." But yes, we're doing Shades of Grey by Jasper Fforde. Mm-hmm. Shit. I mean, if you want to read the book and then fake discuss it with us, get this book. We're telling you this so you can read it. Also,
fuck yeah,
just read a book.
Just read a fucking book, Jesus.
Read a fucking book.
Is it really that hard for you to do that?
Well, I can't find time. Bubby, you need time for yourself, okay?
Listen here.
Please. Okay.
Yeah. And that's the end of our spiel. Thank you again for listening. Also, I did want to make a point. If you guys like listening to us talk and bullshit around or whatever, rate and review us. Please. Because it kind of helps us out and gets kind of the podcast out there so other people can enjoy it too. And that's really all I had to say for you guys.
We also like the feedback too, because this is our first time doing this. We don't know what the hell we're doing.
No, yeah, and literally every time we go to record, it's like we get nervous. I don't know, we get like the nervous giggles. Yep. Still, this is our 5th episode and we're still a little
5th but like 17th recorded because
we've done a lot of retakes
because we're new. We don't know. Okay?
We don't know what we're doing, but thank you again for listening. We appreciate it. We're happy that people are liking it.
Yeah. We hope you like our witchy jokes and like our witchy stuff and our witchy selves, BB. Here I go again. BB.
I know.
God,
you're obsessed with it. Word of the day, BB. Okay. Bye.